of the things that I've never been able to quite figure out, the people who dictated the stories for the Obregon Chronicles said the quarantine was necessary because we had an Earth virus. And I figured the virus was an emotional virus, you know, hate, anger, lust, et cetera, et cetera. Have you ever heard about this Earth virus and the reason for our quarantine before?
Well, basically, when you become a limited conscious being, it's kind of like you have a mind virus because you have this veil set up between your physical self and your spiritual self. So you can be easily manipulated by anybody who has a higher consciousness and has an agenda. And so what they were doing with the quarantine was simply making sure that all those people who would love to do the manipulation aspect from way out there didn't get a chance to do it until we were at a certain level of raising in our consciousness where it was possible to raise us up to full consciousness before that got too far along. And so what I see with the quarantine up until recently was that that's basically what they were doing. And a slight break in all of that occurs because of what happens with our technology at the end of World War II, and we have a whole rise then in these outpost peoples, which were in Inner Earth also, which were the remnants of the people that the Syrians got rid of when Lemuria happened. And these people have been manipulating like crazy with our governments, all these ridiculous mind control games, etc., which sound like all of them together like something out of a bunch of horror movies. And this basically is what has been going on. And of course the quarantine allowed us to get along to a certain point where even though this is happening, it can't go any farther because of the collective consciousness of our planet right now.
Okay, so you are saying that the people that we know as the New World Order, that David Icke calls the reptilians, and, you know, I just call them the Dark Force, and you call them the Dark Cabal, you believe that they are actually headed by, who are these people that were here before the Syrians kicked them out? Who are they?
What they are is, when there was a civilization here before Lemuria, it was a dark civilization. Mm-hmm. It was basically attempting to create a reality on this planet similar to what more reptilian and dinosaurian type people like, which is a climate that is entirely different than what we like, which is one that's very arid, very dry, and very hot, which for most humans is not very hospitable. And so this was the world they were trying to create. And of course, when the Federation came back to this planet, they basically got rid of them for the most part, but a lot of them went underground and hid. And these are what I'm talking about as so-called outposts in Inner Earth. And these outposts have basically, in the last 10 to 15 years, been gotten rid of, been transformed, because the people that were helping them to hide, which was the Anunnaki, which are basically the sons of Anu, and they're basically these other dark people that are the remnants of Atlantis. When they came here and took over after Atlantis fell, they attempted to create this dark world, and so we have this limited, dark, manipulated hell that we've been living on for the last nearly 13 millennia, and as a result of that, we have created all kinds of crazy myths and upside back down philosophies. And what is happening now is we are beginning to see that these things aren't real. As we grow in consciousness, we're now all searching for the truth, and we're beginning to uncover that some of these things are wrong, some of these things are really made up to do us in. And what has happened is this group lost their leaders, which are the Anunnaki, roughly in the mid-90s, and so the remnants, this dark cabal we now have on this planet, are the leftover dark minions of this group. And this is the group that I call the Dark Cabal. They are very powerful, interconnected people, and they are doing the best they can to try to keep the hell on earth that they had for centuries and millennia that they used in order to control and basically be our masters.
Now, are you going to put names to these people? Are these, you know, is Baron von Rothschild one of these people?
Well, the Rothschilds are part of this whole system. You can call them the Illuminati, as some people have called them, etc. Mm-hmm. But they were the remnants of the dark minions. A lot of the people that were part of this group saw that what was happening and basically decided that the light was where they needed to be, and they formed a faction out of this group that was about stopping this group from succeeding at wanting to create this light. And so we have these groups within the Illuminati group that are fighting each other right now.
Yes, that was one of the things that my husband told me about, this second faction called Faction 2,
right.
Which is the group that is fighting to keep them from taking over the Earth. As a matter of fact, Faction 2 has a direct connection with Sirius and with the ships.
Exactly, because one of the things that they have done is understand their history, and because they were searching for the light, and what basically does all these strange symbols that they learned when they were kids, what does it all mean, and how does it really work out in this civilization, and what is the reality behind it? And they discovered that it leads to stuff we were just talking about before, which is the birth of civilization on this planet, all the way back to Lemuria, and the whole concept of the light and how it works to try to create a new reality on this planet that is of the light, not of the dark. And this is one of the first things that they discovered. And back in the 40s, one of the things that the Sirians and the Galactic Federation were doing initially with major governments like the U.S. government, the Canadian government, the French and the British, etc. governments, was to try to find allies to be a basic factor in this shift. And so what happened is they discovered this other faction we're talking about. We can call it Faction 2. We can call them, as they like to have me call them, our Earth allies. And what they are doing is working directly to create a new reality, which they are working on successfully so far, because they have convinced a lot of nations secretly to come together and work on various aspects we're talking about, like a new banking system, a new currency system, prosperity, these various prosperity programs, the fact that we need people on this planet at the right time to announce the fact that these benevolent beings are coming, to prepare the way for them, etc. And so this is what they're doing.